Hello Aries, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus placements, looking at your connection between you and the person that you are dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. We'll be pulling for all three sides of the connection, so we'll look at your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it, the concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section will be looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. Friendly reminder that these are general readings and they are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and to leave what does not. On that note, and especially if you're a cross-watcher, just know this whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that is totally fine and totally normal. Again, the point is to take what helps and leave what doesn't. Last thing is that any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading or coaching session with me is in the description box below. All right, Aries, let's jump on in. We're going to start with overall energy through oracle cards first, and then we'll dive deeper into the story with tarot as we progress. So let's start with your energy toward the person you're dealing with and are needing to learn the most from right now. I also want to let you know that I started posting daily general readings on my TikTok and Instagram accounts. If you're interested in seeing those, the account information is below. Those readings will not be posted to YouTube. This is still going to be the space for the longer zodiac sign readings. You have patience with drama. So there's definitely this energy of pretending to be okay when you're not. Like this detachment energy. It's almost like there's deeper desire here for commitment, for, I don't know, more energy, more effort from the person that you're dealing with, but just kind of almost as if you're like, you know what, I'll just take what I can get right now. Like, I feel like that's definitely the energy that you're in. I feel like you've been very patient and very understanding in this connection, almost to a fault though. It kind of feels like you've been so understanding of this person and their, their experience that it's made you a little bit understanding of your experience in this. Remember, there's space for your needs too in your relationships. This person's energy toward you, Aries. Woo. Passion with codependency. This person does have a lot of strong feelings for you. There's no doubt about that. But I also feel like they have a bit of, I feel like they have some unhealthy habits and patterns in relationships. I also feel that they, it kind of feels like they struggle to believe that they're valuable enough to fully commit to this. It's interesting. It's like they're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and it's not necessarily because they don't have feelings for you, because they definitely do, but it's almost like they're doubting their own ability to not like mess this up in some way. So it's like, yeah, they're like keeping this distance. Kind of feels a little bit like a giver taker kind of energy. Truth of the connection here between Aries and this person. Growth with reciprocity. Reciprocity is what you desire. And that's what I kind of gathered from your energy. I don't necessarily feel like you're asking for too much at all. In fact, I feel like you're asking to be met where you're at, like almost like to just receive the same energy that you give. This growth card is kind of this indication of you've been doing a lot of growing, I feel. And I feel like it's almost like you're starting to get a little bit more clear on what it is that you want and a little bit more intolerant. Because I've said that like you've been pretending like things are okay when they're not. I feel like it's getting harder for you to do that because it kind of feels that, maybe you've been doing some healing or some work on yourself, or you're starting to tap a little bit more into your power. And, when we heal, especially from, mistreatment or not receiving what we deserve, we do get more intolerant, because we almost get to this point where we can't believe that we've accepted less for so long. And I feel like that's kind of the place that you're in right now, is just getting a little bit more intolerant. And sometimes I think that can almost bring up like feelings of guilt, where it's like, should I just be okay with this? Am I asking for too much? And I feel like it's really important for you to know that you're definitely not. Definitely not asking for too much here. All right. Advice card for you. This isn't an advice card. What am I doing? Maybe it is advice. This is overall theme. Maybe it is advice. I don't know. We'll see. Lies and partial truths. And that's kind of what I gathered. I feel like this person has a lot of excuses. Excuses to why they don't show up. Excuses as to why they don't reciprocate. Now, those excuses are probably very valid. Yeah, this is overall theme, but this also does carry advice. Those excuses probably seem very valid. Oh, I've got a lot going on at work, or I've just been really busy, or I've been overwhelmed, and I got, this. You deserve, Aries, to be a priority in people's life, especially like if you're dealing with a romantic connection or any kind of relationship. Like, you deserve to be a priority, and it's not that you're going to be at the top of people's lists all the time, right? Like, there are times where other things are going to come first, but if you are consistently being placed on the back burner or like at the bottom of a priority list, that is where, we can have empathy for other people, for what they're going through, what they're dealing with. They've got all these things going on. But eventually we do have to take care of ourselves and put our foot down and go, you know what? This isn't okay with me. I know that you're dealing with a lot. I know you got a lot. I know you're busy. I know you got, a lot of responsibilities. I deserve to be met where I, where I want, but also where I deserve to be met. I deserve to be met where I deserve to be met. And I think that getting to this place is very inevitable. We can only put our head down and pretend that we're okay with how things are for so long until eventually we kind of snap. And it's not that you're snapping because you're not strong enough to handle it or because you're selfish. It's because you're human. And when we're in spaces where our needs aren't being met and we're constantly being undervalued and not appreciated and not prioritized, your soul can only exist in those spaces for so long before it is screaming at you, something's gotta give. And so I feel like that's kind of what is happening in this connection, is like, you do deserve more out of this. But let's dive into this more here, Aries. Let's look at your side of this. Patience with drama, this person's energy, or your energy toward this person. Man, I'm getting all mixed up in this reading for some reason. I feel like in general, this reading is like the energies are kind of all over the place too. Like, I feel like especially with this person, I do feel like they're in kind of a chaotic space. But let's see. Aries, your side of this connection to the person you are dealing with. Hermit. It's kind of like you've been in hermit mode. Like, doing a lot of reflecting, working on yourself, self-improvement, things of that nature. King of Pentacles. You're a very stable person. And I'm not saying you don't have your moments, but it feels like you're very consistent, especially in this connection. Very consistent, very stable, and you kind of bear the burden of the emotional burden, and maybe even the like physical labor of this connection too. Like, the emotional and the physical labor feels like a lot of things tend to fall on you, and you're constantly in this place of not just dealing with your problems, but like this person's problems too. This King of Pentacles could be an indication that you're also dealing with an earth sign, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. You definitely don't have to be. I do kind of see this as like this energy of, you know, just being the glue almost here. You have the Nine of Cups. There's a lot of things about this connection that aligns with what it is that you desire. And I think that when this person does show up, when this person is present, when they are investing in the connection, I feel like it's everything you could ever want. But the inconsistency of that is what I feel is really struggling here the most. You really wear your heart on your sleeve for this person. And especially like if that isn't common for you, like if you typically kind of like, you know, are a little bit more reserved or a little bit more, I don't know, like, I don't want to say closed off necessarily because that's not the energy that I get. But, you know, in terms of just being vulnerable and, you know, being available, like I feel like for this person, they are like at the top of your priority list. And I feel have been for a really long time. But then you have this Page of Swords in reverse. And this is really interesting because this is an energy of inauthenticity. Now, it's not that you're not an authentic person. I do, however, feel that you have a bit of people-pleasing tendencies, you know, trying to make sure that everybody else is happy and everybody else is taken care of and everybody else's problems are solved. And, you know, it's like you're always the solution. But you never seem to have that same support when you need it. And I feel like that's weighing on you, especially if this is a consistent pattern in relationships where no matter how hard you show up, you just never seem to get that same energy in return. And I think that for a while, it feels like you could kind of push it to the side. Maybe, I don't want to say ignore it, but just kind of, I guess, yeah, kind of ignore it or just brush it off. And I feel like it's getting harder and harder to do that. And I think that a big part of that is because your soul is very, very drained here. Your soul is very drained. You know, you deserve reciprocal relationships and respect and effort and commitment. And I think that, you know, when we're in spaces where we're not receiving what we're giving, we in some ways start to shrink ourselves, right? We start to become smaller to fit into that space. We shrink our needs, we shrink our desires, we give up on our dreams and our goals because everything becomes about the connection, about the relationship, about making the other person happy and taking care of them and making sure that they're okay and they're supported. And eventually, like, you're, like I said, gonna snap. You're gonna get to a point where you're like, this is not, like, I can't do this. And I think that you're getting close to that point if you haven't already, because And I think that when we get to that point again, especially if we're used to prioritizing other people's needs ahead of our own, we're gonna feel guilty about it. We're gonna wonder like why, maybe even start to feel selfish. But it's never selfish to ask to be met where you meet other people, ever, ever, ever. This person's energy toward you, codependency with passion. There's definitely feelings here. I don't doubt that. But is there effort, right? Somebody loving you and somebody showing up to love you well are two very different things. Ten of Swords. Oof. The Six of Wands in reverse. The Ten of Pentacles in reverse. There it is. This person relies on you for a lot. A lot of support, a lot of validation, and it's almost like they wouldn't be, almost like where they're at in their life if it wasn't for you. And with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse, it kind of feels almost like this person is undervaluing you in a sense. Goodness, Page of Pentacles in reverse. Let me get one more here. King of Swords in reverse. Oh, I don't like that. Let me get more on this Ten of Swords here. Six of Swords in reverse. They're stuck. Okay. Okay, this is codependency at its finest. It's almost like this person, yeah, they rely on you for a lot to almost keep their head above water in a certain sense. And it feels like, no matter what, I feel like you're always there to catch them. You're always there to, wipe their tears, give them a hug, help them, support them to the best of your ability. And that's beautiful, right? I think that that's ultimately where is the foundation of relationships, is trusting that your partner is always going to be there. But there's this flip side where I feel like when you've had a bad day and when you're struggling, it's like their problems still trump yours. Like their issues are always more important, always more urgent. Their needs, are always more important. And I think that is coming from this place of, how this person has always kind of existed within the world. I feel like they've always received a lot more than they've given, or like they've always kind of had this codependent relationship with people where it's like they rely heavily on other people for their happiness, for their peace, like literally to just kind of live their life. And I think for you, it's like you've kind of been for them almost like a parental figure in a way. Even if you're not, like, even if this is like a romantic relationship or a friendship, it's like you've been this person to kind of, like I said, like keep their head above water. And, one thing that I've learned about codependency, because I used to be a very codependent person, is that it isn't sustainable. Not because there's not genuine love there, but because relationships aren't about two halves making a whole. It's about two whole people experience the reflection of that wholeness in each other. And if somebody isn't capable of being for themselves what they need, they're going to constantly look to you to fill that void. And if they're constantly looking to you to fill that void and you're giving everything you have, and they're not going to have what it takes, because it's not reciprocal, right? It's not like you give a little, they give a little. It is all of your energy is going to them. All of your time, all of your energy, the commitment, it's them. They're at the top of your priorities, and I feel like it's like there's a need to look at kind of what's going on here. I don't think that this person necessarily is trying to hurt anybody. Like, I don't think that they're doing this intentionally by any means. I think that this is how they've been taught that a relationship is almost. It's like someone who, this is just an example, but like someone who moved like from their parents' house, like always having like their mom or their dad like take care of everything, take care of them, cook, clean, do dishes, do laundry, and they move right in with their partner and they just expect their partner to like do all of that. That's what this feels like. Is like this energy of this person doesn't know how to handle things on their own, so they're always relying on other people. It's very, very much and it's not that they're not capable. It feels more like a learned behavior, though. It's immaturity, it's for sure, especially with the Page of Pentacles in reverse. And I think that from what I can see here, they need to step up a little bit. And not in the sense of they should still be able to rely on you, but you should be able to rely on them too. And not just sometimes, and not just a little bit, and not just here and there, but every time you need help, that priority, right? One of the best things my therapist ever taught me is that relationships aren't 50-50, right? It's not going to just constantly every time, every day, in every situation, you bring 50, they bring 50. But over time, like across like the relationship, things should level out to 50-50, where it's like, some days maybe you do have 80% to give and they only have 20 because they're struggling, they're tired, they're exhausted, they're overwhelmed, right? So you give more. But then on the days where you're feeling that way, tired, exhausted, overwhelmed, you've got your own stuff going on, expecting them to show up at that 80% where you have that 20. And then maybe some days you are 50-50. Maybe some days you're 30, they're 70. Like, that's how a relationship is. But what I'm gathering from this energy is that it's always majority you bearing the burden, you having the expectation of handling everything and solving the problems and, making sure everybody is happy. And this person not pulling their weight, especially emotionally. And so, yeah, I definitely think that there's a need for stronger boundaries here. I think that, putting your foot down and setting boundaries in association with what you deserve is how we show ourselves that we're here to love us and protect us and be what we need. It doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's going to meet you where you deserve to be met, but it certainly means that you're giving them the opportunity to. That's the thing about people pleasing, is a lot of times it's this expectation for people to read your mind, where it's like, well, I want them to know that I want more, that I need more, or whatever. And sometimes passive aggressiveness happens, right? Being assertive about your needs isn't is actually a very loving thing to do, because it's giving somebody else an opportunity to meet you where you deserve to be met. But we have to value ourselves enough to understand that we deserve that exact same effort and love and compassion and empathy, all the things that we give. We deserve that in return. But we have to be the ones that advocate for ourselves. And obviously, yes, it'd be nice if people could just read our mind and do what we want, but that isn't realistic, and that isn't necessarily fair to other people either. So I don't know. I think that something definitely has to give here. This is not sustainable long term, because your cup is running dry here, Aries. Okay, I'm going to hop on over to the extended. You have reciprocity with growth. I'm going to dive deeper into this, looking at the deeper purpose and the best way for you to move forward in alignment with your higher self. Any information for this is in the description box below. Before I end this video, this is my final reminder that tomorrow I am hosting my Manifesting Financial Freedom Workshop. The cutoff for purchasing tickets is at 6 p.m. Central Time. I'm very excited about this one. I've had more people sign up for this one than ever before in a workshop. And I poured my heart and soul into it, so I'm really excited to bring it to you guys. It is a live workshop happening Friday, September 19th at 6 p.m. If you cannot make it live, any of the materials and the recording will be sent out on Saturday. So if you purchase a ticket, you get access to the live and also the recording that will be sent out the next day. Thank you guys, as always, for your support of my channel, and I obviously hope that it helped and resonated with you, and I'm wishing you nothing but love and healing and all of the wonderful things you deserve and desire on your journey moving forward. Bye, Aries.